Well, I just want to look at one verse today in chapter 47 of Genesis, and that is verse 27. It says there, meanwhile, the people of Israel settled in the region of Goshen in Egypt, and there they acquired property, and they were fruitful, and their population grew rapidly. Okay, compare that to what was happening before, right? What was happening before? The Egyptians are selling everything to Pharaoh. That is not what is happening to the family of Jacob and Joseph. So it gives a couple of things. They settled in Goshen. And Goshen is in the northern part of Egypt, right along the Nile River Valley, kind of where the delta where it empties out into the Mediterranean Sea is where Goshen actually is. And so they acquired property. They were fruitful and their population grew. So in 400 years, they would become a nation of at least 2 million people. A lot of estimates go as high as 4 to 5 to even 6 million. As you look at some of the commentaries and different theological studies that spill over into the book of Exodus. So it says there that their population grew rapidly. So this initial group that started with Jacob and his wives grew to about 100 in 50 years. And then that's a growth rate of 6% per year. And at that rate, 430 years later, when we will see the time of the Exodus begin with Moses, that would get them to the point of several million descendants. Wow, it's that compounding principle that happens there. You know, what would you rather have, $1 million or a penny doubled for 30 days? Take the penny doubled for 30 days. You know, it's an exponential multiplication. It's like compound interest when you start looking at money and investments. You know, compound interest is your best friend. So they continue to grow and prosper. And when you think about why their situation was different than the rest of Egypt, once again, that's not really Joseph. That is Pharaoh. Pharaoh gave them this land. Pharaoh is blessing them, and he's not requiring the things of them that he's requiring of everybody else because he's tracing them back to Joseph. You say, Joseph, this is your family. You've blessed me. You've taken care of me, and your God has provided for me, and so I will provide for your people. So there's a discrepancy there. And that discrepancy, I believe, will lead to what happens to the nation of Israel when they themselves become oppressed and they themselves become slaves. So we're planting seeds now that are going to get us to the point of Moses, the plagues, the crossing of the Red Sea, and all of those things that happen there. So it's a really interesting section of Scripture when you think about it from that point of view. The Israelites are going to be blessed, but then eventually they will be oppressed because of the things that are happening today. And let's see what happens next tomorrow.